Alright student, my name is Confident. Welcome to our revision session of Mathematics N1, and in this particular section I thought of bringing you what is usually challenging most of the students. From experience, I have discovered that students are always struggling with the first question of the exam, and you know that when the first question becomes difficult, it kind of demoralizes you, it kind of puts you off for the whole of that particular exam, because you want to make sure that you start the exam on a good footing. You want to ensure that as the questions are starting, being able to solve them in a way brings you, or it gains you confidence in the whole exam. But if you find you are already struggling with the first question, chances are you will be demoralized, you'll be put off in that particular exam, and you end up doing badly, not because the paper was difficult altogether, but just because you lost it from the beginning. So in this case, hence I thought of giving you some techniques, some strategies for you that you can use when you are dealing with the first question. Now, being able to do well in the first question and being able to approach or to start answering the first question in a way that gives you confidence will actually have a greater impact in the whole exam. And starting on a good footing will ensure that you finish your exam on a good footing. So in this section, that's why I thought of bringing you guys some revision session of question number 1. So in this case, I just took a few papers, previous papers, but as I said, I'm just focusing on dealing with question 1. Now, just before I start this section, I will encourage you to subscribe to our channel if this is your first time, and you can also share this channel with your friends and colleagues so that they can also benefit from this. This is a 24-minute lesson. The lessons are not exactly 24 minutes, but try to do these lessons within the 24-minute period. If the lesson is more than 24 minutes, just pause the video, give yourself some break of 5 to 10 minutes, because your mind can only be able to absorb at a maximum time of 25 minutes. Hence, this lesson is built around that concept to say within the first 25 minutes you are able to benefit mostly from this. Anything you do further, your mind is strained, your mind is tired, your mind is distracted, it might not benefit you as you would have loved. So some videos can go even up to 2 hours at a session, but you need to break them into 24 minutes. Alright, so let's begin our lesson and see how to approach this. So this is question 1. As I was saying, the aim is to bring you some strategies on how to approach this particular question 1. So let us look at the first question. So what I'm given here is, they say use exponents to simplify each of the following, and you must not use a calculator. So it says without the use of a calculator, and they gave you the first question 1.1.1, that is 2 marks. So what are given? You are given a squared b cubed times a b to the exponent 3. So you're supposed to simplify this. Now, what is it that you need to be careful here? You have to understand that the power of 2, for example, this power of 2 belongs only to a, this power of 3 belongs only to b. So that is not a problem. But in the second part, sometimes students get confused. This power of 3 only belongs to b. Now the question is, what is the power of a in this case? Now by default, 1 is always left out, but you can actually include the 1 there to show that you know the power of 3 only affects only affects b. If they wanted the power of 3 to affect a, they would have written as a, b, and then to the power of 3. That particular bracket shows you that even a and b are affected by the same power. I hope that is clear to you. So now, what are they trying to test you here? They're trying to test you the first law of exponents, and that law says a to the power of m times a to the power of n is equal to a, so the bases are the same. So what you do is you take the exponents and you add them, which is m plus n. So this is the law that they are trying to bring here. So using that law, you can see that we have got same basis there, which will be your a squared times your a to the power 1. But again, you've got b, which is times your b cubed times your b cubed. So you see, what you just did is you group them together, the a, and you group together the b, but everything is multiplying. So using the law, now you'll have a, now 2 is the exponent in the first one, then plus 1 times b, and is 3 plus 3. So that's what they wanted to bring now, which is a, 2 plus 1 is 3. B, you can put a dot, you can put a times, you can leave it like that, and then it will be b to the power of 6. That is how you can get all the 2 marks like that. So this was the part of this question that they wanted you to do. So that is question 1.1. Now let us look at question 1.2. You are supposed to solve that, simplify using the laws of exponents. 4 to the power of x times a to the power of x divided by 2 to the power of 5x. Again, you are using the laws of exponents, the same laws, but now I just want to add one. Remember, a to the power of m times a to the power of n is a to the power of m plus n. That is the first law. The second one is that involves division, which is a to the power of m divided by a to the power of n is equal to. Now if you're dividing, you subtract the exponents. Alright, and the other law that we're going to use here is the law which says a to the power of m bracket exponent n. That particular law, the two exponents, you must multiply them, which is m times n. So these are the laws that will be applicable in this question. So if I have 4 to the power of x times 8 to the power of x divided by 2 to the power of 5x, and this is 4 marks, this is good 4 marks. Now we have to express 4 in terms of 2, and you know that 4 is same as 2 squared. That you need to get comfortable with. Numbers like 4, you know that is 2 squared. Numbers like 8, you know that is 2 to the power of 3. You see, numbers like 16, you know that is 2 to the power of 4. Numbers like 32, you know that is 2 to the power of 5. You see, so you need to get used to such numbers. So in this case, where there is a 4, we'll write 2 squared with a bracket, we put the x. I'm using now this law, and then times 8 is 2 to the power of 3, and the bracket is x, and it's divided by 2 to the power of 5x. So already what I'm doing is I have meshed my exponents. Then this will be 2 to the power of 2x. Remember, the exponents are multiplying, times 2 to the power of 3x divided by 2 to the power of 5x. If you simplify it straight away, you're going to have 2. Now if it's multiplying, you add the exponents, which is 2x plus 3x. If it's dividing, you subtract, which is 5x. So you're using these two, where you have to add when it's multiplying, where you have to subtract when it's dividing. And the final answer now, you're going to have 2 to the power 2x plus 3x, which is 5x minus 5x, which is equal to, now 5x minus 5x is 2 to the power of 0, and any number to the power of 0 is equal to 1. As you can see, if I just say 2 exponent 0, I'm getting a 1. So that is how you solve it. Now sometimes you can test these. Even the first one I would have tested it, but you can test this particular question, whereby you can choose any value of x. For example, let's say let x be equal to, let's say 7, and then you introduce where there is x, you put 7, you put 7, you put 7. The answer you must get must be a 1. So you choose any value that you can maintain. For example, 4 to the power of 7. And then we have times 8 to the power of 7. And then we have got divided by 2 to the power of 5 times 7, or 5 into 7. Remember, x is 7. You see, it will give you a 1. Doesn't matter what number you use. You can use maybe, let's say 4 here, where there is x. I can use 4 there. So that's how you can always test your answers also. You see, it's 1. So you'll be knowing that this whole thing just simplifies to 1. So this was a good format for me that you could have taken advantage of. 1.1.3 again says you're supposed to simplify. So there are a few things here that they wanted to catch you up. Now don't forget, the division sign means you subtract the exponents. And the few things that I wanted to show you, it is this part here which says square root of 9x to the power of 2 y to the power of 4. Now that sign square root means put everything in bracket to the power half. That is the whole thing about that square root. Now you know what is 9. As I said, you need to know such numbers. Now 9 is same as 3 squared. You see, if you put it in exponents, it simplifies things. So you'll have 3 squared x squared y to the power 4. Don't forget, this power half will multiply that exponent. It multiplies that exponent. It multiplies that exponent. As well as if you are having x3 y to the power of 2, don't forget, where there is y, you can see that the power of 3 only affects x, but the y has a default 1 there. So this 2 affects 3 and this 2 affect 1. So you're going to have x to the power of 3 times 2 and y to the power of 1 times 2. So this is actually you're having, so it will be x to the power of 6, and then you will have y to the power of 2. Basically that is that. I'm just showing you some of the things that are easily simplified there. And if you now want to simplify this whole section now, so I'm going to take it just from here. If you want to simplify now this whole part, you see the 2 here will cancel the 2. You can get a 2 there. That's the first part. And we have already, in a way, if I bring you here, this one, you can carry it further to say it's 3 times, remember it will be 3 to the power, now 2 times half. You can use a calculator there, you'll get a 1. X to the power 2 times half, again you're going to get a 1. And y to the power 4 times a half, remember you're multiplying, you will get half of 4 is 2. So that is what you will have here. So now if I bring it this back, so what we have at this stage simplified is you're going to have at the top, you have a 2 there, so you'll have 2. All right, you have a 2. So where there was the square root of 9x squared y4, you have that part now, which is times 3 to the power 1, x to the power 1, y to the power of 2, times, and then where you are having this one, it simplifies to that, which is x to the power of 6, y to the power of 2, and then all over at the bottom now you are only having x to the power of 7, y to the power of 4. Remember, we have divided the 2 there. So when you simplify, now you just have to focus. Let's focus on numbers first. Now 2 times 3 will give me 6. Now I have x to the power of 1, which is times x to the power of 1. I've got that other x times x to the power of 6. Now I must bring the x to the power of 7 to the top. Now there is a law of exponents which says, if I can do it here, which says 1 over a to the power of m is equal to, if I want to take this to the top and remove the fraction, it will be a to the power of negative m. So that is a law like that. So if I've got now 1, like what I have, you see it's x to the power of 7 is at the bottom there. So it's like I'm having 1 over x to the power of 7. If it goes on top, it will be x to the power of negative 7. So that's why I'm multiplying now by x to the power of negative 7. Now I'm done with the x. Then I collect the y part, which is y squared times y squared, which is that and that. And then at the bottom, again, the y must go to the top, which is times y to the power negative. Then after that, it's 6 to the power. Remember, it's division. That I was using this sign here. It's a division sign. Hence, when it goes to the top, it becomes a negative. So when I add the exponents, it will be times x, which is 1 plus 6 minus 7 times y, which is 2 plus 2 minus 4. Now when you finalize that, which is 6, 1 plus 6, which is 7, 7 minus 7, it's 0. It's x to the power of 0. And then y, 2 plus 2 is 4 minus 4 is 0. So now any number to the power of 0, remember, is 1. So x to the power of 0 is 6 times 1. Y to the power of 0 is 1. The answer there simple becomes a 6. As I said, it is possible to test these things. What you simply do, choose any value of x. For example, you can say let x be equal to 3 and let y be equal to 4. So wherever there is an x, we'll put a 3 on the original, and wherever there is a y, we'll put a 4. The answer must give us 6. If it doesn't give you a 6, it means there is an error somewhere. So if I put 4, then square root of 9. Now remember, x is 3 squared, and then y is 4 to the power of 4. So you need to be careful how you enter them so that you don't make errors. Times, you have a bracket, x is 3 cubed, you can just do that, and then y, which is times, y is 4, you close that bracket, but there is a square outside the bracket, and then you have divided by 2 times, x is 3 to the power of 7, and y is 4 to the power of 4. Then when you simplify that, you see say equal to, it gives you a 6. So these are simple ways of testing your answer. You just choose any number, put it in the beginning, that is in the question. If your answer still has x and y, go and put the same value of x and y. When you simplify the original as well as you simplify the answer, the answers must be the same. Now the other one here, let us continue. We are still looking at question 1. These are, I think now it says question 1.2 says simplify each of the following logarithms. Now we're using logs without using a calculator again, but now you can see that I just got numbers here, so I can quickly take my calculator. The moment they say I mustn't use, when I see that I can use it, that's when I use the calculator, just to know what is my answer, and then I work towards that answer. So I've got log base 2 of 8 plus log base 2 of 16, and then, alright, let me do this properly. It's log base 2 of 8, then play forward, plus, make sure you play forward so that everything is not under the same log base 2 of 16, play forward, minus 5 log base 3 of 3. When you do that, you see the answer is simple at 2. So how do I get a 2 from here? Here you're using the laws of logarithms again. If I can just show you the laws that are more common here, there is the first law of logarithms, which says if you have got same bases, for example log base a of m plus log base a of n. Now when these bases are the same, this is same as log base a of m times n. So when the logs are adding and they are the same base, you multiply them. So this applies in our first case here. You can see that. So I will have log base 2 of 8 times 16. Hope you're seeing that. Then when I've done that, minus, now the second law here that I see being applicable is log base a of a. You see, when the number and the log when the number and the base are repeating, that becomes 1. So this will be minus 5. Now we have got 3 and 3, so that becomes a 1 there. So you put a bracket and that makes that into a 1. So that you have log in base 2. Now you can multiply 8 times 16. You see that it gives you 128 minus a 5. Now which is equal to, now you can take a calculator and ask yourself, what is this log 2 of 128? Remember, you mustn't use a calculator, but you must give you an idea. So this is 7. So in a way, how do they get the 7? Now you will see I have a 2 here. I can write, which means I must express 28 in terms of 2. So my question is, what power is 28 in terms of 2? Remember the answer 7, that 7 I got. If I just say 2 to the power of 7, you see where the answer is 128. So it will be 2 to the power of 7 minus 5, then equal to, now another law of exponent that I'm going to use here is, if I'm given log m to the power of n, now that n will drop down so that I've got n log base a of m. So the n drops down, so even here this particular 7 will drop down, so that equal to 7 log base 2 of 2 minus 5. Just like we said log 3 was equal to 1, so here it will be 7 bracket 1 minus 5, which is equal to 2. And if you still remember, the answer that we got there was equal to 2. So that is how we solve that. I hope this in a way assists you. So let us look at the next part, which is 1.2.2. You're supposed to simplify that, and again, don't forget to test it with your calculator. It's minus 4 log 3 of bracket 1 over 3, and the answer is 4. So how do you get an answer of 4 there? Again, it's the laws of exponents that we're going to use. But now, in the laws of exponents, the one that I'm going to use is this law, which says log, that is the division on a over b, a over b when I'm dividing is equal to, the division means log a minus log b. I just didn't put any base because you can choose any base here. It can be any number like x, the base x, but the key part is when there is a division sign, you are going to introduce a subtraction. That is what we are having in this case. There is the division 1 over 3. So I will have here minus 4. That is now critical. Put a bracket like that. That is very, very important. They wanted to trick you with that 4. So that 4 is not involved for the time being. Put it outside the bracket, then apply the law, which will be log base 3 of 1 minus log base 3 of 3. Remember, it's the top, which is like here, it is a, and minus b is that b. So even here, log base 3 of 1 minus log 3 of 3, which is equal to minus 4. Now what you need to know, any number, if it's any base, as long as it is log 1, that becomes a 0. For example, if I say log 9 equal to, sorry, I wanted to say any base of log 1 is 0. For example, log 1 is equal to 0. I can choose any base. Log 9 of 1, that's what I wanted to say, it's 0. So it doesn't matter the base. So log 3 of 1 is 0, minus, now log 3 and 3, same base, same number, it becomes a 1. So here you have got minus 4. 0 minus 1 is minus 1. Minus 4 times minus 1 is equal to a positive 4. And remember, the answer that we got also was the answer of 4. So as I said, this is how you approach your question 1, and this is how you get your 15 marks. You don't want to lose those marks. You want to ensure that you grab everything. So I hope this strategy was beneficial to you. I'm going to do a second lesson and a third lesson that focuses on question number 1. I will encourage you to grab hold of those other lessons so that you can gain more insight. We have come to the end of this section. My name is Confident. Thank you.